Director. Ashley Bevan is EcoDevo Program Director. So Ashley is in here today. So, okay, we've got the board ready. Everything is good. So, good trip up here today?
Yeah. It's been kind of weird trying to catch up this morning. I've been out the past couple of days for a training up here in Great Bend, so we kind of just spent our drive up here catching up what we've been doing the past couple of days. So.
That's right. Staff meeting on the go.
Okay. Well, Ashley, we'll start with you today.
Okay.
You've been in Great Bend the last couple of days. What's going on?
I have. So Golden Belt Community Foundation hosted a certified nonprofit accounting professional training for our area. And so I made the trip up here the past 2 mornings to become certified in this program. And so we talked about things like what kind of policies your organization should have in place and internal controls and what receipts should look like when you get donations from individuals. And it just covered a lot of bases and really makes you think of the legal side of operating a nonprofit organization. So it was insightful. I enjoyed it.
How do you hand somebody, when I want to write a check after the show's over with and I give it to you, what happens to that check then?
So internal control-wise, Carolyn would take it to the bank and deposit it for us, and then I enter it in our accounting system, and then at the end of the month, I reconcile accounts. And so we're not a huge office, but having those separation of duties really, it helps, and it needs to be in place. So just lots of, people might not think that's major, but it really is.
If you're raising funds, Carolyn, I would think transparency is the biggest thing and that you want to have in an organization like that.
Well, we've also tried to always be very transparent with our board. We've been very deliberate in how we set up board meetings so that all of the documentation for what we're spending and what we're taking in is available for the board to review separate from our board meeting. They can take as much time as they want every month prior to the board meeting to review all of the documentation that leads into the financial reports that we approve during the course of the business meeting. So it's not only internal controls between the 2 staff, but it's also some processes that we put in place to run the business. Ultimately, the board of directors is the ones that are responsible. And so we need to have it very transparent and easy for them to see month to month all of what's going on. And so as far as those who are donors, I suppose it's not as if we have all of our financial stuff online or something like that. So I don't know what the best way to be transparent is there. It's certainly something I want to promote, but I would share anything that an individual wanted to know about it. We have nothing to hide.
Tell me about the board of directors for Stafford County Economic Development, kind of how that works and how they work hand in hand with Ashley and yourself and different initiatives that you do.
We have a 7-member board. We've always had a real eye toward keeping it diverse among the geographic areas of the county, and then also try to keep a balance of different, business backgrounds or what have you.
I'd like to know how things work.
They are, they're not elected. They are appointed by the county commission, who the way that we set this up in the beginning, because the county commission was kind of our physical sponsor, we wouldn't have been able to get this organization started without their involvement. And they do continue to give some core funding each year, essentially the form of a grant from the county. So our county commissioners are actually members of the organization. You might think of it kind of like being members of a co-op or something like that, but there's a board of directors separate from that membership. So typically our commissioners come to our annual meeting, but not the other meetings of the year, although any of our meetings are open to whoever wants to come. We have a process that our board kind of brainstorms and asks individuals whether they'd be willing to serve and nominates those people to the county commission, and then they make the formal appointment.
Ashley, how many other people were at this?
There were about
training?
20 of us total, some other community foundations in the state, and then there were people from Sunflower Diversified Services and the center. So, a full range of individuals.
Great opportunity to network a little bit,
it really was. I enjoyed it. I got a lot from it.
You learned something there.
Yeah,
See?
I did.
Good job.
Strong financial management is absolutely key to any nonprofit. So I'm
probably
glad that we're working on, continuous improvement on that.
Okay, let's
I'm glad the resource was available to us here locally.
just up the road. That was nice.
Yeah.
Kansas Workforce One mobile unit. Tell me about this.
Well,
Coming September 7th from noon to 7.
Right. So I don't know if people have seen these buses in other locations around the state when there's a, kind of a hiring fair going on.
Yeah,
They have a mobile unit that they bring along. So we're going to get that in St. John September 7th. They're going to be there really focusing on collecting applications for the White's Food Liner facility. Management from White's Food Liner will be there on site that day too to conduct interviews. And we've been getting inquiries about how do I apply. There is an online form that someone could go to the White's Food Liner website right now if they were interested in that. Or on that day on September 7th, there's also that opportunity to actually meet management. And I think it'll be really exciting to have a mobile unit in our town.
Can any other businesses jump in on this?
Well, they could, yes. If there are others that are hiring, by all means, let me know, and we would need to get in advance what jobs they're hiring for, some type of job description. And other than that, we don't have to make it super complicated. We could be screening people not that we're doing the screening. It's Kansas Workforce One that will be collecting the applications and really just making them available to the employers. But it could be other employers besides White's Food Liner. We just know that there's an intense need for that right now.
How about that? The Kansas Workforce One mobile unit's in town. That must mean the grocery store is getting pretty close.
It is.
Can't see in anymore.
No. You're right. I stopped by there this morning, and the plumbers were very busy, and the drywall's delivered in there. And I think as soon as the contractor gets freed up from another job, that's what's going to be going in next is the drywall and then paint, and the concrete parking lot that we've had enough rain that hasn't, that piece of it is a little bit behind schedule, but it's not holding back the schedule of the overall project. So I saw that they had the crushed concrete delivered on site this morning, and we'll be spreading that and getting ready to pour concrete.
Ashley's got a big grin on her face. You're getting excited,
it's just
aren't
so
you?
exciting. I mean, we've taken a couple trips out there during the day to talk with the contractor and just kind of check things out. And just standing in that building, it's like, oh, this is really happening.
Well, especially the journey that you've gone on and okay, just your feelings. I know Ashley's excited, but you've talked to many different people. As we get closer, what's the feeling in the community right now?
Oh, I think people are excited about it. I think they have gone for a period of time without a grocery store and appreciate what it means to have one there. So I hope it's been an amount of time that habits haven't changed in a way that they can't change back to shopping in town. But I think people are excited.
One of the things that people should feel good about, because you do have White's Food Liner in here, a company that has done very well in smaller communities.
Mm-hmm.
They know how this works. It's not like, I don't know, Joe's Used Foods or something, that's coming in their startup operation.
Right.
These people, they probably kind of know what they're doing.
Well, I think that's been a piece of even getting to this point, the confidence that those who have funded the project that we have competent partners has been a part of getting the funds to be able to do it. But I think that's a I don't know, just a big piece of, I think that they work hard at trying to be involved in the community, do promotions. I'm on their email list already, and I see that, I could get a free gallon of milk on Tuesday if I were, in Kingman, but I'm not. So I can't wait till they're here and open,
What do we know about grand opening, things like that right now? Anything nailed down?
October 10th.
Is there what time's the store open?
I don't know.
I mean,
7 a.m. Don't they open at 7 a.m.?
It could be.
I think that's 7 to 10
Well, isn't there going to
p.m.?
be like a line out there because it'd be the first person to go in and buy something?
Yes. Well, it's on a Wednesday, and I think that is a deliberate decision to, just try to manage how things
Well, yeah.
open. We're probably not going to open on a Saturday. We open on a Wednesday. Yeah, we'll be excited if there's a big, maybe I should help orchestrate that, a big line out the door before
Well, don't you want
the
to be
doors are
be
unlocked.
the first person? I mean, they got to give a plaque to somebody. The first person that
Their dollar on the wall.
their dollar on the wall. Well, then you can have another plaque for who buys the most groceries on the first day. That'd be another. Give them a big pat on the back. Anything else concerning grocery stores right now as we get really close? Just old hat now.
Yeah, I don't know. Just,
Gas and then will the pharmacy move in at the same time, or will there be any delay with that?
well, we hope they move in all at the same time. I guess there's still some logistics to work out there, but they have inspections and so forth there that are a little different than the grocery store. But
I just had a question. You may not know this or not because KDOT gets involved in these things. There's probably going to be a little bit more traffic down in that area. It's 55 going through there right now?
I think it's 50.
50. Okay, well, I go 55.
And right after the 5th Street, where you can turn to go to the grocery store, is where it splits to the double lane. So one of our main entrances isn't going to have a turning lane for people. So I hope that doesn't cause issues. But, I mean, maybe we'll be looking at lowering the speed. I don't know.
we could have those
Things to...
discussions with KDOT.
Okay. I always like to bring up at least one question on the show that, hasn't been discussed yet. So
Yeah.
especially when I go downhill coming back toward the north, it's hard to slow down sometimes. So, you're-
Believe me, I'm with you.
But I do, I do get down. Okay, the cash program. Tell me about the cash program.
Well,
It's
it's always available. It's always available, but I just want to kind of keep it in the public awareness that it's a really great way to be able to save some money for home repairs or a home down payment. 2 adult household can save up to $12,000 in this way by making their own savings of $4,000. And then that is matched 2 to 1 to give them $12,000. That's a significant piece of a down payment in the typical house of, the St. John, Stafford, Maxville area. So just want to kind of keep it out there.
And this is available in Stafford County.
It is available in Barton County too, is for that matter. But I'm here to promote Stafford County. Anyone that's making up to 200% of the poverty guidelines. So for example, a family of 2, that's $32,000. But if you have a family with, say, 3 kids, that's up to $58,000 a year, or almost $59,000. If your income doesn't exceed that, you can qualify for this program. The easiest way to get involved would be to sign up through Interfaith Housing Services in Hutchinson. We're in their service area. And there's some simple online classes that the person would complete that are intended to, provide some financial coaching. But when you do that and you achieve your savings goal that you set up, which you can do basically through like monthly savings, or if you know that you've got the opportunity to work a few more hours and make a little more income, or you know that you're going to get a tax refund or whatever, any of those types of things can contribute to your savings. And ultimately, again, you save $4,000, they match at $8,000. You've got a good chunk of change to apply toward housing improvements or down payment. Or it can also go to education or starting a business or improving a business.
I don't remember us talking about this.
Oh, really? Okay,
We have a couple times.
There you go. That's why we have to bring these things up periodically, because sometimes we kind of forget that they're continuously available.
And I try to share programs like this in our monthly e-newsletter that I send out, and also on our social media pages. So I hope people are seeing that stuff.
My gosh. E-Community Low Interest Loan Program.
Well, that's another one that's continuously available, but we feel like maybe you got to just kind of talk about it periodically. This is a program that can give up to $45,000 in a low interest loan to someone starting a business or expanding. It does have some stipulations. It can't cover 100% of the loan requirement. So for that maximum $45,000 loan, you would really need to be borrowing $75,000 overall and getting $35,000 from a different source. whether that's another public program or your bank or whatever. But this can help kind of reduce the overall cost of your lending requirement. Current rate is 3.25%. Pretty easy application process. You can go to our website for that too.
Okay, a new campaign at the state level. This is Land in Kansas. Tell me about this program and what's going on with this and how people can take advantage of it.
Well, this is something that was announced from the Kansas Department of Commerce last week, actually. And we kind of had some opportunity to provide input on the development of the program, so kind of knew a little bit about it before the announcement. But I think this could be really good in particular for rural areas that have felt like the kinds of recruiting strategies that Department of Commerce does are more fitting for the larger urban areas. So this is going to be more kind of proactive was one word that was kind of used, type program where they take input from the local communities on what kind of development you're ready for, what kind of development you want you see as the highest priority, and then be a little more collaborative in trying to find the businesses that fit those criteria. But it is going to require a little more legwork on our end. I think it's healthy. We often don't really have either the sites that are truly ready to present, or in some cases kind of the policies really laid out at our local level so that we're ready to recruit. And this is going to kind of discipline, I think, that process a little more. So for example, you might be able to offer a tax increment finance district. That might be something your community would be willing to offer. But if you haven't actually gone through the process of defining that district in advance, it's kind of hard to recruit for it. Maybe another example is that, in Stafford County, we have policies on the books that prohibit corporate dairy farming and
Hog farming.
So looking back a couple of years ago, we knew that the state of Kansas was putting some effort into recruiting dairies from California. And at one point I said, Stafford County would be interested in that. And they said, but you've put a policy on the books that says you can't have them in Stafford County. And it turned out a lot of people currently in office didn't know about it, but sure enough, we went back to 1994, I think it was, and that resolution had been passed. So we got to clean up some of that kind of stuff to truly be ready to recruit. But I think with this campaign, there's going to be a stronger effort for those in, the state level to kind of use their connections to try to play matchmaker back to the rural areas.
But you've got to get your information together to get to the state then.
Right.
How big a process is that going to be? You said you do some extra legwork. Well, you guys do extra legwork better than anybody else. I mean, that's
what we're here for. But, and the other, it's also, I think, needing to involve some community prioritization. It can't be just our office saying we think that this is the best fit. Because what we're wanting to avoid is something like Tonganoxie, where a lot of work went into recruiting, but then at the last minute, the community went, no, this isn't for us. And, even if it's not a poultry packing facility, if it's something completely different, we don't want that kind of
How do you know?
dynamic.
Is that something that you poll the community on? This is what would be cool. This is what we're looking at. Because obviously there was no polling done there.
Right,
okay.
Right. So we probably do need to do some of that polling. It's kind of, sometimes you feel like you're holding kind of town hall type meetings and nobody's coming, but whatever process we do need to have some public feedback.
Yeah, telephone stuff isn't good. I'm not usually somebody calls up, I'm taking a poll for this. Well,
right. We've kind of talked about our AmeriCorps workers may be a good way for us to kind of pound the pavement and administer some of these opinion polls.
Yeah, what the community is comfortable with.
Right. In the city and the county, in their formal roles, they need to be a part of it too.
Where are we for the next? It's kind of interesting because when Stafford County Economic Development was formed, I'd like to see these are our initiatives we have, and these are our programs we have going right now. This is a pretty blank page, right? It was.
We had areas that we were,
right.
Strategic areas. We knew that housing needed attention. We knew that, I always say two of the easy measures of whether we're making progress is population and tax base. And, so you tried to work on business development from day one, kind of promoted a lot the entrepreneurship. And I think it's kind of evolving into maybe we need to be a little more proactive ourselves in this model that we've engaged with the grocery store. I think could apply to a lot of other things too, where there's an element of shared investment operated by a professional business person.
The grand opening is going to be really cool. I think there's going to be a lot of people there that can I think there's going to be a lot of pride down there that day,
Yeah. I think
especially what the
if I
community's
haven't
been
said
through.
this before, we on the day that we did our groundbreaking, I extended invitations to all of those who had some direct role in it. So they were either on a volunteer committee doing, planning or they were a part of a committee that either gave money, was on a city council, on, one of the governing groups that had to vote for it. Somebody that either voted, gave money, gave time. And I had 10% of the town on the list.
That's pretty good.
It seems like, there have been a lot of people that have put their effort into it.
Well, I guess we'll see you again next month, and we'll have more information on that. So I'll be better prepared next month, too. I kind of let the team down today. Dakota was in here. It's his fault. So anyway, that's our show today. Focus on Stafford County on 1590 KVGB and 97.7 FM. Carolyn Dunn and Ashley Bevan in with us.